Why do I need such big wire for longer distances? I got a big house 'cause I'm an elephant, and now all my wires gotta be way bigger than when it was on my breadboard. What's going on?
That's a great question, Electric Elephant. It is really wild and frustrating sometimes how you build a perfect little circuit on a tiny breadboard and then you go to install it and you're like, oh, it doesn't work. What's happening? Well, there's a lot of things that could be happening, but make sure you are using the properly sized wire because if your wire is too thin, it might have too much resistance for all of your little charges to get from your power source to adequately power all of the fanciful gadgets that you were trying to control with electricity. The reason why that happens is because every material has some amount of resistance to the flow of electricity. Yes, even our lovely friends, conductors. So, and we're talking about electrical conductors, not musical conductors, although they're lovely too. So the reason why this happens is because there is a resistivity value for every type of material. Even conductors, they have some resistance to the flow of electricity, which means as charges are flowing through them, these charges lose some energy. The longer they travel, the more energy they lose. And the resistivity tells us how much energy those will, more or less, it tells us basically how much energy those charges will lose over a given length of distance, like a meter, for example. And so we can use this handy dandy formula to figure out how large of a diameter we need when choosing wire for our project based on the length, the current, the type of material, and then the voltage drop that we need for our components. I'm going to write it for myself and we'll talk about it as we go along and then I'll show it to you. So the equation is given. So we want to know what is the cross-sectional area of the wire, or how, you know, thick is our wire. And so we're going to say area equals 2 times the length of the wire times the current that you are running through that wire times the resistivity of the wire material, which is going to depend on what type of wire you're using. Most of us are using copper, and so I wrote the resistivity in small numbers at the top. We don't have to memorize these things; we can look them up. And then we divide that by the minimum voltage drop that we need for our components. So to solve for the cross-sectional area, we need to figure out how long do our wires need to be to get from the energy source to the thing that they want to power. How much current does our source need, whether it's a lamp or a speaker or some sort of other fun little gadget. What is the resistivity of the material? You could use this one for copper if you are using copper. And then divided by the minimum voltage drop that we can accept for our component. What's really interesting to me is that this tells us that as the length of the wire increases, the size of the wire needs to increase, the diameter of the wire needs to increase. Same goes for current. So if you need more current for a component, that's going to mean that you need a larger wire. If the resistivity increases, meaning there's more resistance to the flow of electricity over the length of the wire, it's also going to increase the area. But as your voltage drop increases, it's inversely proportional. And so that would actually cause the size of your wire to go down. Pretty cool, huh? So just a quick thing to keep in mind. If you double the length of the wire, it's going to double the area, the cross-sectional area of your wire. That doesn't necessarily directly correlate to diameter because remember, cross-sectional area is pi times diameter squared divided by 4. So it's not a one-to-one correlation. We're talking about area, not diameter. But some wire is actually given in cross-sectional area. And so in that case, you could just use those units. I think it's common in the United States, but I know more with this type of stuff. I know more about the metric system than the US system. So pros and cons. All right, that's pretty much it. So I hope that helps, and I hope that if you were like, wait, what? You need larger wire for longer distances? Yeah, totally. It's so interesting, and I love how sometimes when you start to really like peel back the layers in a project, you're like, whoa, I thought I was just building a project with, some electronic components, but it turns out it's actually really helpful to understand the underlying mechanisms and, why do things work? Well, it all boils down to these funny little things called charges and how they behave in different materials. It's so cool. All right, please let me know if you have any other questions about science, tech, engineering, or math, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye.